Hey everyone, welcome back. You ever feel like the city is just kind of teetering on the edge of chaos?
Yeah. Yeah, I know that feeling.
Well, today we're diving headfirst into urban prepping, all about surviving if things go sideways right here in the concrete jungle.
Sounds intense.
We're using an awesome guide, Urban Prepper's Emergency Bag Essentials, written by the Portuguese prepper.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one. Lots of good stuff in there.
It's got a list of 10 must-haves for your emergency bag. We're going to unpack those and then take it even further.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
So, first things first, what makes prepping in a city like totally different from bugging out to the woods?
Well, prepping in a city, it's a different animal, right?
Mm.
It's less about, living off the land and more about
Yeah.
surviving in this concrete jungle.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine a major disruption. The power's out. There's a natural disaster, whatever.
Okay, yeah.
You've got millions of people all crammed together, all scrambling for the same limited resources.
hmm
Shelters, they get packed in a heartbeat. Supply chains, they completely break down.
And suddenly that corner store isn't looking so reliable anymore.
Nope, not at all. You got to be resourceful. You got to blend in, not stand out.
And you got to anticipate problems that are totally unique to a city.
Right, like even just getting clean water can be a challenge.
Okay, so let's dig into these 10 essentials from the Portuguese prepper. First up, the multi-tool. Sounds like a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's kind of the poster child for urban prepping, isn't it?
But why is it so high up on the list?
Well, think about it. In a city, space is everything. A
Yeah.
good multi-tool, it's like a whole toolbox packed into one little gadget. You can fix a leaky pipe.
Open a stubborn can.
Right. You could even rig up a temporary shelter if you had to.
So it's like that one friend who can fix anything.
Uh-huh. Exactly. And while we're talking about what's in the bag,
Yeah.
the bag itself is super important, right?
Yeah.
The Portuguese prepper suggests a 72-hour bag.
Right.
Why that specific time frame? Any thoughts?
I'm guessing that's kind of like the sweet spot. You're prepared, but not going full on doomsday prepper.
Exactly. It gives you enough supplies to bridge the gap until things hopefully settle down or until you can figure out your next move.
Makes sense. Okay, on to tool number 2, the trusty flashlight.
A classic.
Now, the Portuguese prepper specifically calls out LED flashlights. Why is that so important? Is it just about the batteries lasting longer?
Well, battery life is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if the power's out, you don't want your only light source dying on you.
Yeah, for sure.
But an LED flashlight, you can also use it for signaling. Like, think Morse code if you're trapped or trying to get someone's attention.
Ah, that makes sense. Now that you mentioned signaling,
Mm-hmm.
I've heard about those tactical flashlights with like a strobe feature.
Oh, yeah.
Are those worth considering for urban prepping?
Well, those are definitely a step up in preparedness.
Mm.
They've got features for self-defense or signaling in really extreme situations.
Okay.
They're not for everyone.
Yeah, but something to think about if you're...
Taking your prepping to the next level.
Right. Makes sense. Okay, next on the list, the first aid kit. Seems pretty obvious, but
Oh, absolutely.
is there anything specific to city prepping we should know?
In a city, access to medical care, it can vanish really quickly.
Mhm.
Think of like a big accident overwhelming the hospitals.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Or maybe you just can't get to a pharmacy.
So we're not talking about just like, bandages and aspirin here.
No, this is about being able to handle potentially serious stuff on your own, at least for a while.
Got it.
And the Portuguese prepper really stresses having a pre-assembled kit. When things are crazy, you don't want to be rummaging around trying to remember where you put the gauze.
That's a good point. Okay, so tool number 4 is the one I'm most skeptical about, the fire starter. I mean, isn't fire kind of risky in a city?
Fire, yeah, it's definitely a bit of a
Right, yeah.
double-edged sword, right?
Right.
But think about it. Fire gives you warmth, light,
Yeah.
and the ability to, boil water or cook food if you're without power or gas.
So it's more about having the option in a real emergency, not like, building a bonfire in your apartment.
Uh-huh. Hopefully not. But even a small controlled fire could be a lifesaver. And, a fire can be a real comfort too.
Yeah, like a little bit of hope in a dark situation.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, moving on to number 5, the water filtration system.
No, this one is critical in a city, for sure.
Right. Cities seem especially vulnerable to water contamination.
Totally. You could have a broken pipe, flooding, even, intentional sabotage.
A good water filter could seriously be the difference between staying healthy and, well, getting very sick.
Absolutely. Reminds me of those survival shows where they filter water from puddles and stuff.
Yeah.
Some systems are that advanced, But even a basic filter that removes bacteria and parasites,
Yeah.
that's a game changer. Just think about how much water we use every day and how fast that adds up when you're stockpiling.
Okay, that's a good point. So number 6 is emergency food rations. Are we talking about those like cardboard flavored protein bars or?
Oh, no, no, no. There are definitely options that are more palatable, let's say.
Okay, good.
The key is to choose rations that are calorie dense,
Mm-hmm.
that will last a long time, and that you don't need to cook, like nuts, dried fruit, maybe even some decent tasting energy bars.
So it's more about like bridging the gap
Exactly.
until you can get to a reliable food source.
That's it. And don't forget about dietary restriction.
Oh, right.
Allergies or whatever. Prepping isn't one size fits all. It's about tailoring it to your own needs.
No, good point. This next one is interesting. Paracord. It's like super strong rope, right?
Yeah, paracord is amazing.
But why is it so important in a city?
Think of it like the duct tape of survival gear. It has a zillion uses. You can build a shelter, hang stuff, even set traps for small animals.
Wow. I even read that it's strong enough to support weight. Could you, like, rappel down a building with it?
Well, in a truly desperate situation, I guess it's possible. But I wouldn't recommend it unless you're, trained in rope techniques.
Yeah, good point.
Paracord's real strength is its versatility, it's lightweight, compact,
Right.
and you can use it to solve so many problems.
Okay, on to number 8. The compact knife. This one feels a little controversial, maybe.
Yeah, I can see that.
Why include it?
Well, a knife is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. But in a survival situation, you might need it for, cutting food, making kindling,
Right.
even self-defense as a last resort.
And we are talking about a compact knife, right?
Yes.
Not like a machete or anything.
Exactly. A small foldable one that you can easily carry and conceal. The goal here is practicality and safety.
Okay, that makes sense. Number 9 is a classic, duct tape.
Good old duct tape. The urban prepper's best friend.
I feel like I can already guess why this is on the list.
I mean, you can use it for everything.
Yeah.
Repairing gear,
Yeah.
patching leaks, creating a makeshift splint, even sealing windows and doors against the elements.
It's like the universal solution to any unexpected problem.
Plus, it's incredibly compact. A little roll takes up almost no space, but it can be a lifesaver in so many situations.
Okay, and last but not least, number 10, the power bank.
Essential, even on a normal day.
Seriously. In today's world, this feels like a must-have, even without an emergency.
We're so reliant on technology these days.
Totally.
And in a crisis, a dead phone can be a huge problem. You might need it to stay informed, contact help, even navigate.
Right. A power bank keeps you connected, gives you access to information, which is super important in a city environment.
Yep. And they make them so compact now you can easily just slip one into your bag and charge your phone multiple times.
All right, so we've covered all 10 of the essential tools that the Portuguese prepper recommends, but imagine you had to choose just one. Which one would you pick?
Ooh, that's a tough one. But if I had to choose, I think I'd go with the water filtration system. In a city, access to clean water is so vulnerable,
Yeah.
and dehydration can really knock you down fast.
That makes sense. So water is truly the most essential item in a city survival kit.
I think so.
Okay, so we've talked about the gear,
Let's
but
just-
I'm guessing there's more to urban prepping than just packing the right bag.
You got that right.
Yeah.
In a crisis, your mindset can be just as important as any tool.
I can see that.
Like, imagine a citywide blackout.
Oh, yeah.
Darkness, uncertainty, the potential for, panic in the streets.
I can definitely see things getting out of control pretty quickly.
Right. So how do you even begin to prep for that mental and emotional side of things? Well, one strategy is to pack things in your bag that'll give you comfort.
Oh.
A little sense of normalcy.
Yeah, I like that.
Like maybe your favorite book,
Mhm.
a journal, and a pen so you can write down your thoughts,
Mhm.
even a photo of your family or something.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So it's like creating a little bit of peace in the middle of all the crazy.
Exactly. Little things like that, they can really help manage stress. They can keep you from, feeling totally overwhelmed.
Yeah, I get that. But beyond packing for your mental health,
Mm-hmm.
are there actual skills that are important for surviving in the city?
Oh, absolutely. There are tons of skills that can be, super valuable in a city survival scenario.
Okay, so let's talk skills. What should city dwellers be learning to up their preparedness game?
Well, first aid, that's got to be at the top of the list,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it makes sense.
Knowing how to treat a cut, stop bleeding, heck, even knowing CPR.
Mm-hmm.
Those could be lifesavers,
Yeah.
especially if professional help is delayed or you just can't get to it.
Yeah, you're right. I've actually been meaning to take a first aid course.
You should. Everyone should.
What other skills are like essential for city survival?
Navigation, I mean, you can't always count on GPS, right?
Right.
Especially in an emergency.
Yeah.
So brush up on your map reading skills. Get really familiar with your city's layout.
Okay.
Maybe even learn how to use a compass, the old school way.
So it's all about being able to find your way around without relying on technology. What else?
The communication,
Ah, yeah, good one.
being able to explain what you need, share information, work together with other people.
Right.
That can make a huge difference.
I think it's easy to underestimate how important communication becomes when things fall apart.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's not just about speaking clearly. It's about listening, being empathetic, maybe even knowing how to, resolve conflicts if things get tense.
Yeah, those are really good points. Okay, so we've got first aid, navigation, communication.
Hmm.
Anything else we should add to our like urban survival skill set?
Well, there's self-defense,
Yeah.
and this is a big but.
Mm.
It should always be a last resort.
Mhm.
The most important thing is to try to de-escalate a situation.
Right.
Avoid dangerous situations altogether if you can.
So it's about having the tools and the knowledge to protect yourself,
Yes,
but also knowing when to use them and when not to.
exactly. Taking a self-defense class can teach you some valuable techniques.
Mm-hmm.
It can boost your confidence.
Yeah.
But honestly, the best defense is always awareness, being aware of your surroundings, and just trying to prevent bad situations in the first place.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now, let's go back to something we talked about earlier.
Okay.
The idea of like unexpected items in your emergency bag. Stuff
Mhm.
that might not be on, the official checklist, but could really make a difference.
Oh, this is where it gets fun. It's all about thinking outside the box, right?
Yeah.
And personalizing your kit to your specific situation.
Okay, so give me some examples. What are some of those like less obvious but potentially life-saving items?
Okay, well, a simple garbage bag, big black trash bag,
Okay.
that is incredibly versatile. You can use it to collect rainwater, make a shelter.
Wow.
You can use it for storage, even for sanitation.
Mm-hmm. I never would have thought of that. It's amazing how like a simple item can have so many uses when you really need it.
Right. Another one is WD-40.
WD-40, isn't that for like squeaky doors?
That's what everyone thinks. But it can also waterproof your boots. You can use it to start a fire,
Really?
even to keep insects away.
Wow. Okay, these are great. I'm starting to see a pattern here. You're all about those multi-purpose items.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially in a city, efficiency is key.
Hmm.
You need things that can do, double or triple duty without taking up a ton of space.
Right, right. Okay, what about something a little more unconventional?
Well, if you have young children, a small toy or a scuffed animal,
Yeah.
that can really help comfort them. Give them a sense of normalcy when everything's crazy.
Yeah.
Or even a deck of cards.
Oh, okay.
Simple way to pass the time, connect with other people.
It's funny how those little things can make such a big difference when things are tough.
They really can. What about something a little more practical?
Uh-huh.
A sewing kit.
A sewing kit. Okay.
Super useful. You can repair torn clothes, patch up your gear,
Mm-hmm.
even make some makeshift bandages if you need to.
Okay.
Or multi-purpose soap, something you can use to wash your dishes, do laundry, and, wash yourself.
It's all about like looking at everyday things and seeing their like hidden potential.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the prepper mindset. And don't forget about personalization. Think about your own situation.
Yeah.
What are the specific things, the specific skills you might need?
Now that's a great question for our listeners. What one unexpected item would you include in your urban emergency bag and why?
Okay, so we're back. I'm really curious what our listeners came up with for that unexpected item challenge. But before we get to that, I've got one more kind of off-the-wall item to add to our list.
Oh, yeah. Hit me.
Aluminum foil.
Aluminum foil?
Yeah. It might seem basic, but
Okay, I'm intrigued.
it's like the Swiss Army knife of survival materials.
Okay, I like where this is going. All right, sell it to me. What can you really do with a simple roll of aluminum foil if, like, things hit the fan in the city?
Oh, man. So many things. You can make a cooking surface, a signal mirror if you need to get someone's attention,
Okay, yeah.
You can even make a Faraday cage.
Wait, a Faraday cage? Isn't that like some kind of high-tech thing?
It sounds fancy, but it's actually pretty simple. You basically wrap your electronics in foil, and it can help block those electromagnetic pulses.
Oh, yeah, EMPs. Those can fry your electronics, right?
Exactly.
Wow, so a little piece of foil could actually protect your phone or whatever in an EMP situation.
It's worth a shot, right?
I'm gonna have to try that sometime. Just hopefully not, because I actually need to.
Uh-huh. Right.
Any other surprising uses for aluminum foil? I feel like we're just scratching the surface
Oh,
here.
totally. You can patch little holes in your clothes or your gear, make a funnel for pouring liquids.
Oh, smart.
Even use it as like a makeshift bowl or a cup.
It really is the duct tape of the kitchen, huh?
Exactly. And speaking of duct tape,
Yeah.
have you ever thought about packing a sewing needle along with it?
A needle. Why a needle?
Well, if you combine it with duct tape, you can make some crazy strong repairs.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Like for clothes, tents, even those inflatable rafts.
Yeah.
It's like a little mini survival sewing kit.
Okay, these are all great tips. I think the big takeaway here is that prepping isn't just about like checking off a list of items. It's about being resourceful and being able to, adapt.
100%. Urban prepping is all about seeing everyday objects with a prepper's eye and thinking, how could I use this in a different way?
It's like turning the city into a giant scavenger hunt for survival gear. What other general advice would you give to someone who's just starting to, like, dip their toes into the world of urban prepping?
Don't get overwhelmed. Start small. Put together that basic 72-hour kit, take a first aid class, learn a couple essential skills,
Mm-hmm.
and most importantly, think outside the box.
Because when it comes down to it, the best tool you have is your own, like, creativity, your ability to solve problems.
You got it.
All right, so as we wrap up our deep dive into urban prepping, I want to leave everyone with one final thought.
Okay, shoot.
Being prepared isn't just about surviving, it's about, thriving even when things are uncertain.
I love that. It's about building resilience for yourself and for your community.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe while you're getting prepared, you'll discover some of those unexpected treasures right here in your own urban jungle.
Maybe right under our noses.
Well, on that note, we'll leave you to ponder your own unique approach to urban prepping.
Happy prepping, everyone.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. See you next time.